Oh no, I had a boomer moment. I had a boomer moment. No audio. Now we're back, okay? Now we back. All right. Welcome y'all to the Zillion podcast. Welcome to Zillion Live. I'm decided to do something a little different today. Instead of a full like a 10-minute video, I decided to do a live about this. This is a very controversial topic and a very whatchamacallit, a very a very nuanced topic, so I want to get into it in full detail, okay? I think that's more appropriate than actually kind of going over the basics of what's happening here. Let's see what's going on in the chat real quick. Before I begin, I just want to make sure that everything in the sound part is working good, the audio, video, everything. I just want to make sure that we are not rugged. I think we are good with this new setup. Hope you like this new setup. I do have a announcement at some point in the future. I don't want to announce anything yet, just because it's not finalized. So we'll just keep that little secret going. Keep you guys excited, because it's pretty big. Like I said, I am all about the whole rugathon thing. I talked about that a year ago. So rugging where you are if you're not satisfied, or if you want to go where you're again welcomed most. Go where you are welcome. Don't stay somewhere where you're unhappy or unwelcomed or whatever. Move with your feet, right? Move with your wallet. Spend money where your wallet is appreciated. Spend your wallet where your money is appreciated. Kind of flip those two together, but you get what I'm saying. You don't ever have to spend money you don't feel like spending if the people who are who are making the product don't like you, want to inhibit your freedom, are trying to tell you what to do, any of that stuff. You shouldn't feel like you should spend any of your money there. Okay, there's a whole plethora of games out there to play. There's a whole plethora of people who are more than happy to welcome you in, right? People who make content, who love you, who want you to feel appreciated, who want you to have a fun, positive experience, go where you're welcome best. Okay, that's what I always say. And so don't feel like you have to, throw your money away into wizards. These guys are constantly proving to you guys that you don't belong. I don't know what else to tell you. What's up, Spark55? How you doing, bro? Welcome. Thank you for letting me know about the about the audio. I don't know, man. I kind of was like, oh, is this working? Is it working? I'm not sure. And then I realized, yeah, it's not working. Oh man, this happens all the time. I'm at this point used to it. I'm like, all right, there's a chance that the audio isn't on. Even though I checked it twice, when it starts, it just goes away. What's up, Christian Soto? Good morning, my friend. I decided to try something different. We'll see how it goes. It might be a good idea. It might be a bad idea. I don't know. We'll see. In the future, if this is a good idea, then I'll probably start doing them a little earlier, and then like leave the show up. Not put it behind the whatchamacallit, not unlist them or whatever, like I did in the past. Because I think it's important to to have a show every now and again, kind of give you guys my thoughts in live, as opposed to like behind the editing and everything. I hate that. It just always seems disingenuous to me. Editing is fine. I get it, why it exists. I understand it. It saves some people time as far as like the viewer is concerned. But I'm more about the genuine, like what you're thinking in the middle of the actual thought process, right? I think that shows you the person is real, not some sort of fake person. I've only witnessed that the people who tend to do like highly edited whatever, I've been on the internet long enough where I've seen that the people who have everything super edited and super clean cut, they're actually fake. They're actually been caught out there. I'm not going to name any names, but you know who I'm talking about. People have been caught out there. Actually, they don't espouse what they believe. And I just think that's just, not cool. If you're not about it, I feel like if you're not about what you're talking about, I think that makes you kind of in a way, insulting the audience, you're just not genuine to yourself. And again, doors will close, doors will also open. It just depends on, do you believe in your values? That's the test, really. That's the real test. Do you believe in your values? If you believe in your values, then lean into it and stick with that. Go on that journey. I always say, again, do what works for you. This is the shadow pill, the shadow path. The whole concept of going on your own journey, doing your own thing, do what works for you. I just find that, having your own values align with what you're doing in life is part of, A, being a genuine person, and B, having a genuine connection with your audience. I don't think that's controversial at all, but maybe it is. So let's get into this. People who are not genuine at all. Dungeons and Dragons to remove half species from Player's Handbook that claims the entire idea is inherently racist. Again, these people were taking your money all these years. They were never real. Just think about that. They were never real. The people behind the scenes were never real. They never liked you. They always wanted to curve into this direction, into this other area. They wanted this audience. They never wanted your money, really. I mean, they did want your money, but they never wanted they never wanted to make this content. They wanted to make this kind of content you see now, right? This was always part of their belief system, right? They got your money. They think they own you. They think they got you. Now that they have all the money in that, in that field, it's time for this other audience that they think they can get, right? They abandon you and they go for somebody else. Kind of tells you who they are, in my opinion. It tells you who you are if you abandon who has been supporting you, who has been your loyal customer fan base, who has been, all you have to do to know who is your audience is go to a convention. Go to a convention before even social media, or even look at videos of people at conventions. That's all you got to do. You know who is out there. You know who's buying the products. You know who's making, building this community from the ground up. It doesn't have to be even said. It's just so obvious and clear. I don't even know what else needs to be said at this point when it comes to that. It's almost as if, they already tell you who they are. Believe the people who tell you who they are. That's how I look at it. I take people at their word when they do this kind of thing. So they say, hey, half species is half species. I can't even say that. It's just, even the language itself is insulting to the audience. They are like, hey, first of all, it's not even race anymore. Forget about your 30 years or 20 years or 10 years or 15 years of playing D&D, calling them races, different types of races, right? You have elves, dwarves, etc., right? Forget that. Forget all that. We're gonna completely change it up. Your canon or your whatever you have that your belief about what this whole universe was, throw it out the window. It doesn't matter anymore. We're the rule makers here, which is ironic because it's so anti D&D. It's so anti Gygax. It's just so funny how they turned it around. Even Tim Kask has said in the past, hey, make it yours, make it work for you. Like, take whatever we have and then turn it into whatever you want it to be, right? Have fun with it. It's a sandbox. That's what it's always been, Even when I was a kid and we were playing like little D&D, just like even we were playing it incorrectly, it was still fun. It was still our own way, And so I think this is hilarious when they're like, hey, forget everything you've done in the past and in the books and everything. Forget all that. And if you call it half, if you call these things half races or your racist, it's offensive. It's just the gaslighting is so obvious. It's just too disgusting to me. All right, let's go ahead and read the article. In the latest step forward on their long march to Lost Prophets, Wizards of the Coast has revealed that they will be removing the concept of half species from Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook on the grounds that they are not, quote, not comfortable including an inherently racist concept in the game. Let me go ahead and go down here. This forthcoming update was first announced publicly at the recent D&D Creator Summit, which, boy oh boy, was that full of drama. I mean, that was just it was so much drama. People were mad at Wizards for not giving them the influencers that they had gotten all around, the yes men, right? They thought they had yes men, coming in. They were like, all right, we're gonna get all the yes men together. We're gonna invite them all in. We're gonna see what they say, what they like, whatever, and we're gonna try and get them to kind of collaborate with us so we can have a positive PR, camaraderie in the future, right? Because they damaged their product, they damaged their name, they damaged their entire reputation. It's over. Like, it really truly is over for Wizards. They have pretty much nothing as far as going forward, what they can do to get people back. There's only going to be building from the ground up now. That's pretty much what they have to do, starting over basically from scratch at this point. The people who say they love them or whatever, they're not buying the books. The numbers have shown, like, they're not buying the books. A lot of them, I hate to say this, but before Z Library was taken down, I do remember a lot of them downloading it from Z Library. Now, how do I know? All you have to do is search on Twitter, Z Library. I mean, it's probably deleted now, but because they got called out on it last year. But I remember people getting caught. A lot of the people who are on the left they're I don't even know if they're even left anymore. Would you even call them left? They're more like, they call themselves Marxists, so I don't know what you want to call them. But the Marxists were like, we love this, whatever. And they were downloading on Z Library. I mean, it writes itself. I don't know what else to tell you. But anywho, that's an aside. My main point is, in all of this chaos, right, when they were taking these yes men to the Creator Summit, what Wizards didn't take into account was this amazing pushback, which I think I could probably find it. I'm not sure if it's even still up, but I'll have to link later. Diversity in Dragons. Shout out to Diversity in Dragons. He was doing a video a couple days ago about one of the influencers who said that she got invited, and they were she was complaining about not getting healthcare. As a influencer. Think about that. An influencer. I mean, Wizards was taken completely back. I mean, they were just blown out by the idea of, I mean, it's, to me, it's hilarious. I got the popcorn. I was like, this is amazing. This is some good drama. Because if you're a company and you're collaborating with influencers, the last thing you're thinking of is giving them health care. Like, you're not thinking about giving people health insurance. Like, I mean, they're not an employee. They're an influencer. You're collaborating with them. You're doing a little tick for tat, as they say. You give them a little bit of access for their content, whatever, and then in turn, they're more favorable to you. Do I think that's unethical? Absolutely. But that's business. That's a lot of business behind the scenes going on over there. And that's how they do business, right? A lot of these big corporations, they secretly in the background, they're like, hey, give me a little bit of this, I'll give you a little bit of that, okay? Let's shake hands, okay? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing. I mean, all you have to do is see who has access to content way ahead of everybody else. Not even announced yet. They probably have it all set up. The video has to be edited all nice and crisp. They have to give it to the sound man. I mean, you just have to think about logistics, That's my expertise, is looking at the logistics of something and going, yeah, for that to happen, you need all this time. You getting secret access. You're getting the, you know what I mean? You got a little bit of that backhand, a little backhand alley action. All right, let's get back to this. The Creator Summit, an event where Wizards of the Coast gathered a number of notable personalities ranging from game developers to content creators and provided them with a sneak peek at Dungeons & Dragons' upcoming releases. Following a rocky start to the summit, marred with various technical difficulties, the publisher eventually hosted a demo of their upcoming D&D virtual tabletop. Can I just say, the fact that they hired this Microsoft lady, I forgot her name already. What was her name? I forgot her name. I'm sorry, guys. I'm terrible with names, especially if they're corporate. The lady from Microsoft they hired, who was their president or CEO or whatever. They did a call. I think Lorraine Williams is her name, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I take that back. But I think her name was Lorraine Williams. So Williams says, hey, let's do a powwow, a call. We're going to do a corporate call. Basically, it was a corporate investor call, VC call. Kind of like in crypto, where the developers have a private call with all the investors who are in it, and they have a link, and then you go to the link and you listen on the conversation of what's happening. You can ask questions and stuff. It's the same thing. Okay, but this is more corporate, so therefore there's going to be a lot more buffers. You won't be able to have that one-to-one. They're kind of like celebrities in that way. That's how they treat it. When you can see a hierarchy and they're not having that one-to-one with the VCs or the listeners or whatever, you already know what you're dealing with. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you at that point. You know what I mean? What you see is what you get, is what I'm trying to say. So they had that call and they were super about this monetizing, D&D even more. We're talking about microtransactions. We're talking about the Fortnitification. I call it the Fortnitification. The Fortnitification of D&D, okay? They want that Fortnite. They want to make like little digital miniature people, different skins, different backgrounds, different drops, different monsters, different skins for those monsters, different spell effects, all that stuff, right? They want to turn it into a video game, which I'm just like, go make a video game. I mean, look at how many video games that are out there that are like that. I mean, you could pretty much get a developer. Well, who made the game? What was that card game called? I can't even remember now. Hand of Fate. Go get those guys. The guys who made Hand of Fate and Hand of Fate 2, slam dunk. Boom, you're done. How come I'm giving these people good ideas? I take it all back. Don't listen to me. If you're from Wizards, don't listen to me, okay? Just go do your own thing. Continue to crash your product. It's good for everybody who is on the ground, grassroots, making their own stuff, okay? Thank you. God bless you. I hope you do more of this stuff. Thank you. I'm out here giving out good ideas. What's wrong with me? That's when you know your integrity too good. You're like, oh, I need to fix this. All right, so let's get back to this virtual. That's what the virtual tabletop is, basically. And basically what happened was what happened. That's when you know something bad is about to be said. What happened was a long time ago when this Geek and Sundry company started the I call it the Felicia deification, but we could push it back and say the Matt Mercer, but it's not his fault, in my personal opinion. I more so look at Geek and Sundry about it. I look at it more instead of looking at Critical Role, because they're just employees. I mean, they're just you know what I mean? Like, when you make content, you're just a content creator. You're doing what you have in your soul, in your heart, in your mind, whatever, what you have, right? I can't really fault that person. I can definitely fault the propaganda machine of Geek and Sundry, though. That's where you gotta scroll up. Everybody looking down on the ground, looking at Matt Mercer. I'm like, Matt Mercer is just a guy. I mean, whatever. I don't try to like look at the little guy. I look at the big machine. What's the machine looking like? Oh, Geek and Sundry. Oh yeah, the Felicia Day who was crying back in 2011. I never forgot that. Okay, but I have a long memory. All right. My memory is I'm like an elephant like that. I don't forget, although I do forget things. I forget the stuff that I should be remembering. Like, what did I put on my list? I forgot my grocery shopping list. Well, what did I need? Oh, I can't remember. I hate that. Do you do that? Let me know in the comments if you do that. Anyways, getting back to the D&D virtual tabletop. After which D&D lead rules designer Jeremy Crawford needs to not stop. He needs to stop talking. In my personal opinion, that's another one. He needs to not talk anymore. The more times he opens his mouth is the more times he hurts his company. In my personal opinion, if I was in his position, I'd be like, I'm going to stop talking. Let me go ahead and get anything I want to say through a PR person who will filter that through and clean it up. Make sure I don't upset anybody. And then get that out there. That's what I'm going to do. You don't get yourself out there and say things. You just don't. You got to stop while you're losing. When you're losing like that, you just got to stop. Be an adult. Wake up. Hey, I'm not right for the group, this audience. First of all, I'd probably walk away and be like, I'm not right for this audience, period. Let me go ahead and be in the background and be just a designer, as opposed to like, a spokesperson. It's not for you. It's not for you. Senior designer Chris Perkins and studio art director Josh Herman appearing for a Q&A session with the attendees. Lord have mercy. All right, here we go. Eventually, the post-demo Q&A turned into the topic of WOTC's ongoing efforts to sanitize D&D. Sanitize D&D. I gotta give BoundingIntoComics credit. They really know how to like quickly, briefly explain things without explaining things. They explain it, but then you have to do your own research about what's going on. What do they mean by sanitizing D&D? And then you do your own research, and then you open yourself up to a whole world of, oh my God, what drama is this? Oh man. Bleeker says, now I gotta know what you're talking about. Not familiar with the Felicia Day thing. I would definitely, I don't know, the problem with Twitter is when it gets deleted, only Twitter staff have access now, unless you screenshot it. I was not screenshotting back in the day, okay? Once in a while, I'll do it if it's like a tweet that I think, oh, this tweet is definitely getting deleted and it's definitely important to talk about in the future. Maybe I'll screenshot it. That's like the few times. But boy, oh boy, the things I read in like freaking 2011, I mean, really, it started in March. Why does everything start in March? Really, it started in March of 2010. That's when I started to notice, like, oh, because everything was cool in 2009. I'm getting old now. Look at me. 2009, it was okay. 2008 and prior was fine. It was just, it was mostly tech people. That's how Twitter was. It was mostly tech people, some geeks, some nerd people. It wasn't a celebrity kind of platform yet. It wasn't that kind of place yet. It was more of a, let's have nuanced conversations within 140 characters, which in my personal opinion, I think it requires wit. It requires a little bit of high intelligence. It requires EQ. You need to be able to read the room and know, okay, this tweet's not worth it. Okay, this tweet's worth it. Okay, this tweet is, whatever. Oh, I feel like I could, add more to this tweet. And so when you started to see it go to the phone, it was over, in my personal opinion. And that's when you start to see the crybabies. When things are on the computer, I don't know what it is about the computer itself. There's something about the computer itself, and that's a side topic we could talk about in the future. Something going on in the computer itself that when you are actually on a computer and the product is on the computer, it's like a gatekeeper in and of itself. You will have less drama. You will just have less drama. Once it hits the cell phone, I mean, it is over, over. Okay, over. I'm just saying, that's my take on that. When you started to see that, that's when you started to see celebrities. You started seeing, activists. You started seeing people who are grifters, just grifters, outright grifters, who have an agenda, who want to push an agenda. Hey, listen, I want to control this platform, so let's go ahead and make everyone look like the bad guy. Oh, you're offensive. You're a phobe. You're this. You're that. It's like, why aren't you building a product yourself instead if you have a problem with how other products are? So that's really what happened. Just to kind of give you a gist, I don't want to go into too much detail because this video will be this will be hours long. I don't want to do that. That's a whole channel in and of itself, not just a video, a channel. I'm sure somebody has a video of like the whole Felicia Day thing out there. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Maybe one day we'll do it. Yeah, that's probably, I'll put it on the list. Let me write that down. Maybe we'll talk about the whole Felicia Day. One day we'll get into that. That would be fun. That'll be fun. Let me get the ad bill first. Nah, let's get back into this. We don't send everything to say. Okay, let me go back a little bit. Eventually, the post Q&A turned into the topics of WOTC's ongoing efforts to sanitize D&D, beginning with the question about how exactly the publisher makes use of their sensitivity readers. Oh boy, there's that term again, sensitivity readers. Oh man, the gift keeps on giving. We don't send everything to the same people all at the same time, Crawford explained of their content review process per a summary of the event posted to the EN World Forum by user Brimmels and a recap provided by content creator Danielle Kwan. Yeah, I've talked about EN World in the past. It's definitely different. It's definitely a forum from back in the day, but it's a little bit, different reviewers have different areas of expertise and experience. Everything gets sent to at least 2 people, sometimes more. The old inclusion review process has had holes in it because they would only send out what they thought would be a problem. Now everything is sent. I was trying so hard. Oh man, reading ahead is the worst sometimes. Now everything is sent out, so we aren't guessing what might be a problem. Oh man, listen, if you have sensitivity readers, their job is to do what? One thing only. Find problems. They make money doing that. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna find problems. No matter what you give them, they're gonna find a problem. The chances of you not having a problem is like slim to none. Okay, I'm gonna just say that. The problems of not having any problems is probably 0. What are you gonna do? Like you did it to yourself. Like you sent it to them. They're gonna tell you all of it is bad, and then you start a new product, and then the product is no longer good. It's Bleeker said I completely sidetracked you. Sorry about that. No, it's all good, bro. It's all good. I'm happy about it. I love it. Let me I think is the chat cover still the chat cover up. I'm sorry. There we go. Let me do that right quick. All right. Oh man, it is what it is. It's fine. You give me all the content you want to send out and let me know. This is a free, open conversation. I wanna have a conversation with you guys. So, I welcome it. Let me scroll down here some more. Scrolling down some more. I'm pulling your boy Zach. That's a channel that doesn't exist anymore. Our team are game designers and storytellers. We're not experts in culture and inclusion. Culture and inclusion is a skill now. Is an expertise now. He added. So we're focused on what damage should this creature do. That's why everything goes through inclusion review now. So everything in our game brings out delight. Even reprints are going through inclusion review. That's why some older books are changing too. This is like the Fahrenheit. Listen, this is like every book about book burnings and washing away the past. And this is like when they're talking about the statues, getting rid of statues that are controversial, like forgetting your history. It's kind of like this, but in a way I think it's worse because it's just a game. It's not like, oh, it's so stupid. The more you think about it, this is like a brain trap. The more you think about it, the more intelligent you are, the more you think about it, the more you kind of, you're intrinsically looking at something on a deeper level, and you're getting down to layers and layers and layers of the actual meat and bones of something, the stupider it is. The more it hurts your brain, the more you want to grab the Advil. And it's just, I don't know, man. I think it's just one of those things you have to, like, it's like an art form almost. It's like a puzzle, like a brain puzzle. Like, you got yourself stuck in here. How do I get out? Oh, I have to stop caring. I have to stop caring. But that's why this is fun to do, because you're learning what not to do. That's the base part about this whole thing. The whole base foundation of, like, this entire journey is learning what to let go of, right? And learning what not to do, and learning what you should do when you want to make something and reach out to people. I think it's very important. Telling a good story, what makes a good story, what resonates with people, right? That's the real inclusion. You're creating something that people can be inspired by, people can appreciate and have a good time with. You're creating a world that people can get immersed in. What happened to that? You know what I mean? Whatever happened to that? Now it's like, oh, these new people that we're trying to bring into the game. It's like this. You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. It's like, instead of improving yourself, right? Instead of going to the gym or, learning social skills or, making more money or getting a better job or something, doing something you enjoy, whatever. Instead of like doing new hobbies, figuring things out for yourself and becoming a better person, right? Being the best version of yourself. Instead of doing that, you're trying to get some girl who has zero interest in you, and you're just trying to force it. You're trying to make it happen. You're trying real hard to like contort yourself into being this person for her, right? You're never going to be happy, and it's going to fail. You're never going to be happy. It's going to fail. That's what this is. These guys are trying to contort themselves into this thing, and it's just not a fit. It's not a fit. The customer base they want is not a fit. They're going to lose. They're going to fail, because those people, they're not interested in the game. They're just not, okay? There's like maybe one person per like thousands of them who would be like, okay, I'll try it and play it legitimately, whatever. But most of them are not. And it's evident. The Z Library download just tells you everything you need to know. I mean, just knowing that they downloaded the book, and never bought it, right? Never bought it afterwards. It's one thing if you go and you download it and then you try it out and you say, all right, I like it, and you go get it. Or you look at 1 page or 2 pages and you go and you get the book. You're like, all right, that's all I needed to know. No, they never bought it. Not a single book. Not one, Again, that's not going to be everybody, but it's most of them. And that's the important part. That's the part that matters, is quantity. How many of them did? The ratio is bad. It's terrible. And it's evident. That's why they're looking at VTT now. That tells you everything you need to know. Oh, our sales are down in the books. Oh, we got to redo this thing. We got to, make our money back from buying this company. We got to do something. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing. They're trying really hard now to, fix the problem that they made for themselves, Further elaborating on WOTC's process, the designer detailed, we got a full report. We need to address the issues identified. We have a conversation. Then it goes to the reviewers so then they can see what we did and comment as to whether it addressed the issue. We also now send the art, even the sketches, through the review process. Jeremy thinks of it as, quote, inclusion collaboration, because it's a conversation going on. Okay. Let me see. What was it again? Inclusion collaboration. I'll have to remember that. Inclusion collaboration. To this end, Crawford then confirmed that due to the game now having 4 elf variants for players to choose from, when creating a character. Standard elves, high elves, wolf elves. They did they get the? Is this? Nah, I can't remember. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But is this before or after ElfQuest? I can't remember. ElfQuest is from the 80s, so I'm not sure. I can't remember. So let me know if you guys remember if that's the same, if that came out after ElfQuest or before. I'm very interested in knowing that. And the Drow. The player's handbook would soon be revised to do away with half species. Frankly, we are not comfortable. We are not comfortable with this fictional race. Frankly, we are not comfortable and haven't been for years. You see, haven't been for years. I'm telling you. So okay, there's only two ways this can go. They're either lying about, about this now, or they were always lying to the audience and pretending that everything's okay and everything's good. Again, it's proving my point. About being fake, right? Not being genuine. These are not genuine people. Again, just saying. Either they're lying now or they're lying before. Which is it? Checkmate. Frankly, we are not comfortable and haven't been for years with any of the options that start with half. So if I say half past 1, is that offensive? If I say half past 12, is that offensive? I don't know. Half a cup, man, baking must suck for you guys. Half a cup of milk. No! Oh, man. I gotta stop. I'm having too much fun. It's illegal now. He explained this decision. The half construction, now you're triggering people. The half construction is inherently racist. So we simply aren't going to include it in the new player's handbook. So being half of a race is inherently racist. I'm confused. I'm confused. I'm so confused. I couldn't even say confused. Oh my lord. Man, this is so weird, dude. There's something weird about this. I just don't know what to even say. Like, this part is like, are you saying, people being in an interracial relationship is confused? Which is it? Because these people, they see this as real life. So if they see this as real life, logically speaking, then half relationships, I call them half relationships now. I mean, that's what they're calling it, basically. Half relationships. Now I'm talking like them. I hate it. It's such a virus. The half construction is inherently racist. So interracial relationships are racist? This is so bad. Half relationships. That's so wrong. That's what they're doing, man. They want to just kind of like twist your brain and confuse you, and it's just such a sad reality. I can't even. So sad. Unsurprisingly, let's finish the sentence. The half construction is inherently racist, so we simply aren't going to include it in the new player's handbook. Unsurprisingly, Crawford did not expand on his accusation. Of course, he realized what he had said. That's why. And thus, his reasoning behind this claim remains unknown. I think he got caught out there like Kyle Brink. When you're you're not the mind who comes up with this stuff. You're just a follower. You think you're saying the right thing in front of the right people, but then you realize you just got a bunch of random people from across the country into a room, and you have no idea about their politics. You can get some kind of clue with some of them, but most of them you don't really know. You just know that based on your own research that they are more likely to be yes men. And I don't know, man. That backfired big time because all the stuff that's coming out is definitely not from people who are in agreement with this. Half-elf basic rules here and half-orc basic rules here. I feel like if I read it out, that's going to get me a problem with them. Let me not do that. I'm not going to read their content, the D&D people's content. However, despite the removal from the player's handbook, Crawford assured players that, quote, if someone wants to play those character options, they'll still be in D&D Beyond, and they'll still be in 2014 player's handbook. Let me look at the chat real quick. Let me see the chat real quick. The funny thing is, WTF, do they think a tiefling is, besides being a horrible, watered-down version of the Planescape tiefling? Yeah, they pretty much just stole the entire Planescape and made it worse. It's a damn half. It's so wild to me. It's blatant how they did that. The next comment is Bleaker says, I guess half demons are okay with them though. They love the tiefling. I'll tell you why. They said the tiefling, and I can't find the quote right now, but it's out there. We can look it up. I'm gonna just summarize it, paraphrase it. Okay, so I'm paraphrasing. They basically said the gist of it was they basically said this type of character resonates with our audience who are queer, who see themselves in these creatures, in these characters, in these, whatever. They project themselves. That's what they're doing, right? They're projecting themselves in these characters. They see themselves in these characters. And for them, it's like a fantasy that they can live out where they're actually like physically different from other people. They basically they have like, it's almost like a fetish. That's just an opinion. And I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm saying to me, it seems like might be a fetish kind of thing. I don't know. It's kind of weird because some people say it's just them projecting themselves into it and they want to, be, look different and feel different and kind of experience the how people see them in the real world in the game. And then there's other people who actually say that they get turned on by it on Twitter. It's just really, really messy and creepy. It's just creepy. In my opinion, it just seems creepy. Why would you want to project your own like pain that you experience or whatever discrimination you say you're experiencing it in a game that's supposed to have you escape into a different world, into a different experience, into a different thing? There's something about it that's just, to me, it's like the antithesis to actual, escapism, fantasy. You want to escape the problems or whatever that you're experiencing into a different world. You want to be somebody else. You want to inhabit something else. You want to experience a world differently. You want to play a fun game with your friends. You want to, save the princess, find loot, level up, fight monsters, have a good time, right? You want to maybe recreate the Saturday morning cartoons you just watched. You're 12 years old or 7 years old and you just watch some cartoons. You want to just play a game that's like that with your imagination, or the books you're reading, the fantasy books you're reading, whatever. Like, or even like Lord of the Rings. People watch Lord of the Rings and they're like, I want to do that, and then they play the game, or maybe they played a war game, right? They played something like the Warhammer, and they're like, all right, let me try something else that's different, that has kind of a vibe of escaping, but it's different. And then they play this. There's all sorts of different reasons to play D&D, but in my opinion, when it comes to like this, the reasoning for the tiefling, people experiencing the tiefling, that's like it's almost like I would say it's the worst reason. It's like the antithesis of the reason, right? It's like one of these things is not like the other. It's like if you get off on it, right, then maybe do that in your privacy with like somebody else that you're in. That's like a relationship thing you should be doing, right? That's like a thing that you do with somebody else in the privacy of your home. Not put it upon everybody in the game, in the entire corporation of all the hobby. Like, that's something you just do not. That's what homebrew is for. Go put it in your homebrew. Plenty of things you can do. It's so weird. No matter which angle you look at it, it's just wrong. You look at it and you're like, that's very sus. That's sus. Okay, that's sus too. I don't know. That's just the way it seems. I'm not in the communities, so I don't know anything more about that. So that's just my take on that from the outside, from a very ignorant point of view. I'm gonna say that. Thank you, YouTube. Okay, that's my disclaimer, YouTube, my legal disclaimer. However, despite their removal from the player's handbook, Crawford assured players that if somebody wants to play those character options, they'll still be in D&D, and they'll still be in the 14 players handbook. So basically, you can still go back, even though they say they're changing it. I don't know, man. That doesn't jive. That's inconsistent. That's inconsistent from the what they said before. They said they're changing the books, so how's that gonna work? You know, if you're changing the books before, how are you gonna be able to? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. You just said we're changing the books, so I don't know how you're gonna be able to. Whatever. If you can find a book from the used bookstore, yeah, that's probably the way to do it. It should be noted. Let's scroll down. It should be noted that though players may still be allowed to create half characters thanks to the removal from the core materials, such characters cannot be used in an officially sanctioned event. There you go, right there. As of writing, it is unclear when the player's handbook will officially be revised, nor will it when it will hit shelves. Who knows? Who knows? I think that's the end of that article, right? Is it? Yeah, okay, that's the end of the article. Let me look at the chat real quick. Let me see here. 89, what's up, 89? Yeah, we are live. Spark55 says, reminds me of what they did with Star Wars. Bro, ain't that the truth? This whole journey started when Star Wars did its thing, and I was like, oh, Disney, you completely obliterated this content. I'm good. And I fell out of love with Star Wars. I was like, all right, start my journey. And that's when I started getting the confidence to get all my notes from all the things I always wanted to make and start it up, start putting it together, start writing, you know. And that was a little while ago. And I'm feeling pretty good now. Like, I'm feeling pretty pumped now. Let me see what else we got. I think in the future, we're going to start seeing a lot of really cool, in my opinion, I think we'll start to see a lot of cool sci-fi stuff. You know, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of alternatives that are out there that were never out there before, but will be out there. I think we'll start to see really cool stuff in the future. Probably within 5 to 10 years, the marketplace will be full of options. You're just not going to be able to say, you know, D&D is the only game or whatever in town or whatever. In fact, I think what will end up happening, or even Star Wars or whatever, I think what will end up happening is the corporations are going to start following the trend of like, oh, we need to start making, someone's going to be making like a lot of money. And someone will become a star. That's what I think will happen first. Somebody will be a breakout star. That's my prediction right now. Somebody will be a breakout star. They're going to make $1 bazillion or whatever. They're going to be killing it. And then everybody else is going to be talking about it. There's going to be backbiters, jealousy. And by that, I mean jealousy from the people who are on the left, who are Marxists, who are like, how could this happen? We thought we were the mainstream. Oh, it's like, no, you're not. You're a very small contingent of people. I mean, that's just what it is. And that's going to be a big wake-up call for a lot of people. And then the corporations start to follow people. That's what's going to end up happening. I think it'll be pretty funny when we see the articles like, you know, told you so. Nobody likes this stuff. You know, nobody likes the like you limiting and telling them what to do. The one thing I know you can't do to gamers, nerds, anyone who's playing, you know, any kind of fantasy, any kind of fantasy game or reading fantasy books or consuming fantasy content. The number one thing you cannot do, unless you want to commit, you want to destroy your company, you want to destroy the brand. Unless you want to destroy the brand, then you do this. One thing you don't do is tell them what to do. Don't tell them what to do. Make the thing you make, have at it, walk away, have a good time, right? People who will like it. People who don't like it won't like it. It is what it is. Be grateful. Be grateful. Be a graceful creator. People don't like it. Just say, God bless you. Thank you. I hope you try the next thing. Try it out. Next one. I hope you would try it. Thank you. That's it. Don't tell people what to think, how to think, when to feel, how to feel, whatever. Let them just engage your content. Engage your story, your product, whatever it is you have. Just make the thing. You don't have to have a soapbox about it. Just make the thing, enjoy it, have fun. That's what it's all about. We're all trying to have fun. We're all trying to enjoy something that's outside the mundane. We're trying to be somewhere else for a little bit, enjoy that thing, and then come back. Have a good story. Thank you for the entertainment. Thank you for the amusement. Thank you for that. How hard is that? A, B, C. Make the thing, right? You make the thing, right? You promote the thing, you show the thing to people, and then you hear what people have to say about it, see the sales and see what people say about it. The truth is in there, right? The truth is in the sales and what people say combined. It's not one, it's not the other, it's the total. The sales, I mean, obviously that the truth is in the sales, but the why it's selling good is what people say in collaboration with the sales being good, right? If people are telling you the product is a great product, is that whatever, they like this thing about it, then maybe next time you make something else that kind of engages that a little bit more, and then you just keep going back and forth, and then you keep improving. And that's the whole point. You just keep improving. That's it. And I think that's really the secret of making something great, making something amazing, making something that lasts the test of time. If you want to be the next Tolkien, you have to look at what's already out there, what worked, and then find something within yourself that's a little different, that's you, but also engages people in the same way, right? Not doing this thing where you're just engaging the most controversial stuff into a product that people doesn't resonate with them. Some people don't like it. Some people, they have, negative emotions about whatever it is that, that is in the politics of the thing that you're making. You have to think about, why am I making this thing? If you're making this for like a political reason, you're probably doing it for the wrong reasons. I mean, think about that. You have to think about, why did I make this? Anything outside of the love of the thing is a mistake. Like, if it's outside of the love of you making this thing, I don't know, let's say you love dragon stories. I love to tell stories about fighting dragons. Okay, cool. If you are telling the story about fighting dragons because you love that, great. If you're trying to tell a story because you love dragons, and you really need to tell a story about the patriarchy, the dragons are white people, oh, they gotta, you know what I mean? Like, you just have to think about it's so ridiculous. You just think to yourself, okay, you are now making the villains the people who buy your product. Like, you know what I mean? You just have to think about it. Like, how much of the message you putting out there matters to you versus how much you love the story of the product of what you're trying to do, the original story, the monomyth, right? The actual like fantasy world, the actual content of that, right? And if it's outweighing this, if this outweighs this, yeah, you're in there for the wrong reasons. And look, there is compromise to it. This is a very nuanced topic. There is a compromise to it. Look at Avatar: The Last Airbender. They told a story where it's about a group of people fighting off basically an empire, right? Who are trying to take over, who are trying to, colonize the whole world, whatever, and then eventually burning the earth. Which I think at that point it's like, okay, they definitely weren't that confident in the initial story that they were doing, because they were burning the earth at the end. I was like, all right, well, you definitely did not like that power creep of what do you call it? I call it the moral creep, where you go from this guy is a kind of a bad guy, he's a bad guy, to he's evil, it's just straight up full blown evil, When they got to that part, I was like, all right, so you're not that confident in the story. You needed to raise the stakes one more time. You should have just started with that. But anyways, that's an aside. We could talk about that in the future. But really, my point is, when you have a story like that, you can tell that story with nuance and say, okay, this is about this world and the inner workings of it. And the story is, this is a little, a young man, a little boy trying to, stand up to this insurmountable odds and make the world better by not, by taking them down, but also taking them down in a way that kind of coincides with his belief of pacifism, of non-violence, right? So that's a story you can tell within that world because you set it up that way. When you adopt a product that's already been made and already been produced, whatever, you can't jam in some other political view of it, right? And that's why you see this stuff being insidious and so badly performed, because they don't have the talent to tell the story like that, to tell a story of like a convoluted story. Like, that's a very high end skill. You need to have a very, very high end skill of writing to be able to tell a very, very complex story of like, okay, there's lots of different races, blah blah blah. That takes a lot of talent and skill, years and years of talent and skill of writing to do that. and they're just not up to the task for that, right? And so you start to see these designers, and the same thing for game design is the same thing. That's why they just said we're just gonna wipe it clean, because they already know that people don't have confidence in them, you know, to do it in a way that's kind of tactful. Like, you could tell a story of the half-elves and half-orcs going away. You could do that. You could do a campaign where the half-elves, like, you know, Dragonlance did a great story of, like, how Tannis had to, like, figure out, Tannis, who's the main character of Dragonlance, one of the greatest stories I've ever read as a kid, you know, fantasy-wise. You know, he struggled with his half-race heritage. He struggled a lot. And so they did a storyline in the universe where, like, they basically told you how the dragons were gone, how the dragons disappeared, how the world was torn asunder with a thing called the cataclysm, right? You can tell a story like that and have the half-elves and half-orcs, or whatever race you want to get rid of. You can actually tell a story like that where something happens to them that's tragic, right? And then you tell the story of, like, how that was, you know, how that affects the world, and how deeply it affects the world of D&D, whatever campaign world you want to do. I would make it a campaign world. I would make it a new campaign world. It'd be its own world, kind of like, you know, in Elder Scrolls, there's Oblivion, you know, Eberron, all that stuff, right? Morrowind, you know, you just have to think about that, right? I would create a new world. It'd be a new world, D&D, new world, whatever you want to call it. And then I would actually have that event happen, and there's the races are gone, and it messed up the entire world, and maybe magic's different now. The way magic works is different. Maybe it's not the weave. I don't know. Maybe it's maybe it's the spheres now. You know what I mean? Things change in this world because of this event. Here's our story, and this is gonna be our new flagship world. And if you did it in that way, and you slowly build it up over the course of the new editions, right? You're making whatever 6th edition or whatever. People will eventually try it out and see if it's good or not. If it's good, the market will speak for itself. You know, again, there's lots of different ways to do things, and they went with the laziest way because they know they can't do it, and we kind of know they can't do it. You know, it's kind of a known fact that they don't have the ability, and they acknowledge that in a weird way. I just found that fascinating. Let me go ahead and click here real quick. Uh-oh. Hopefully I didn't mess that up. All right, let me look at the chat real quick. Notice the Amazar, half celestial, and direct opposite of tiefling, also from PS, or I'm sorry, is that PS? From PS, is not a core race and never will be. PS? Do you mean, is that, Planescape, is that Planescape? Let me know if that's Planescape. Because I'm terrible with acronyms. I'm sorry. Let me just go ahead and close that real quick. Sorry. Yeah. It's Planescape. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Because man, there's so many acronyms now. I was thinking of Photoshop when I saw PS. I was like, PS, Photoshop? What's going on? What am I doing wrong here? I didn't know the half celestials were not a core race. I thought they were a core race. I must have been reading the book. I was looking at a homebrew. I just realized. I was like, wait, that's a homebrew. Oh, well, it is what it is. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say about this topic for now. I think I have ran my course with this topic, for good or for worse. You know, we'll see. I'll let the chat decide. I'll let the comment section decide. If I fully explained my thoughts on this, if this made sense to you. I'm very interested in hearing what you have to say about it. But for now, I gotta go. You guys have a great day. God bless you, and see you next time. I think there will be a Wednesday video. We're gonna try and make a Wednesday video. Peace out.